Monday. It is the 30th of August, but Brie has let us know that the first prompt for the Amazing Readathon has already dropped. The first city, the first prompt, everything. As you can see, I basically dropped everything. I ran basically out of the shower to get to this. I have not seen it. I have seen nothing. I have stayed away from the Discord. All I know is that it's here. So let's watch the video together and let's see what I can come up with. Okay. I don't know where we're gonna go. And I'm scared.
City, the home for everyone who wants to be anyone. If you want to be in the headlines or on the bestseller list, your road is going to go through New York City. New York is home to one of the largest concentration of publishing companies, and the city's publishing industry employs over 25,000 people. New York publishing companies have produced some of the most famous books in history, and the city's publishing industry is a vital part of the local economy. It plays a major role in the city's cultural identity. The clue for the first leg of the race is going to be in a book by one of the big five publishers. This includes any book from Penguin Random House, Hachette, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Macmillan, and any of its imprints. Since it is the first leg of the race, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a hint.
I think I have an idea. She's gonna be so happy with me because not only is this on her host favorite, it's one of her books of the year so far. I think it might actually be her book of the year so far, and it's got a yellow cover, so obviously it's going to bank a load of points for Team Yellow. Everyone's talking about it, and I said when I hauled this that everyone was talking about it, and I wanted to be everyone, and I wanted to read this. So when midnight on the 1st of August rolls around for me, I'm gonna crack into Yellowface, if I'm not already asleep. My next question is, how the hell am I gonna get to New York City? I don't know if a plane is the best idea. I'm not entirely sure how big my copy is. It seems to be 319 pages. For me, the best option will be to take a boat. I don't know where the starting point is. I don't know if the starting point is where you are specifically in the world, so Berlin, or if the starting point is just some random place on the map. I'm gonna assume it's your physical present location. So, am I taking a boat from Berlin to New York? Let's see. Listen. Did I change my mind already? Yes. I have had a thought. I know that you get extra bonus points for the majority of the cover being your team's color. So 51% or above, you get extra points. You get extra points if it is a book in translation. You get extra points if it is a book by an author of color. And that fits all three. Also, it is one of the host favorites because it is in the Brown Sister trilogy, and one of Victoria's favorites is At Your Age, Eve Brown. Now, you may be asking Aoife, Dani Brown is not a translated fiction book. It is if Dani Brown is written in German. I have tried every single year. I've tried to read a book in German. I live in Germany. I grew up in Ireland. I've been here for about 6 years, and my German is pretty strong. I'm able to hold conversations. I'm able to work in German. I take part in team meetings in German. But I always want to improve it. I always want to up my game. So when I was in the library a few weeks ago, I got this book with me. It is Chasing Dani Brown, obviously, the German translation of Take a Hint, Dani Brown. That is my favorite book of the Brown Sister trilogy. It's 385 pages. I've just checked it. It's in translation. It's by an author of color. It's got yellow on the cover. It's a host favorite. It takes every single box possible. So I'm going to keep with the boat idea. I know that the boat is the second most expensive, but I think it does something pretty good to your page count. I think it ups it by 1.25 or something like that. And I think that this is possibly the strongest start I could go for. Of course, I do have to bend the rules a little bit with this one, because this is not published by an English-speaking publishing house. How and ever. Für die deutsche Ausgabe Ullstein Buchverlag GmbH, Berlin. Cool. Die amerikanische Originalausgabe erschien 2020 über dem Titel Take a Hint, Dani Brown. 2020 Avon HarperCollins Publishers. It kind of counts. It kind of counts. Let's count it. It kind of counts. This is just how it's going to look, but I happen to be motoring through this a lot quicker than I was expecting to. I'm just coming on to chapter 3. I'm going to be starting my lunch break in about 20 minutes, and when I'm on lunch, I'm going to read this for as long as my brain can physically process German. But I am going through this quicker than I thought that I would be. I'm on page 41. I only started it last night, just before 12 o'clock. I know Bree's going to shoot me for starting it a little bit early and counting the pages, but I probably had like 5 pages read before midnight, so I don't think it's even worth it not to count those. Naturally, of course, I match every bookmark string to every book cover, so this yellow bookmark is going to really earn its money in August. Trust me for that one. This is the chapter where the origin story of Rug Bay comes to be. It's the one with the fire alarm being pulled. And I'm really interested to see how that one is going to play out in German. There are a couple of words that I've had to go, oh, I've never seen that before. Oh, I'm not entirely sure what that means. So I have had DeepL on my laptop open when I've been reading it. But so far, I know what's happening. And I don't know if that's because I just read this back in February. I don't know if, say, I was reading Kissing Chloe Brown, which is the translation of Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which I haven't read in a little bit longer. I read that back in January. I wonder if I was reading the translation of that, would it be slightly different? Also, when I return from my lunch break, I don't have any meetings in the afternoon. I had a really long meeting this morning, so I wasn't listening to anything apart from them talking. So when I go back to work, after lunch, I'm going to also open the audiobook of Things My Son Needs to Know About the World by Fredrik Backman. This, again, hits a couple of prompts because it is a translated book. It was originally written in Swedish. It is going to be read by me in English. It is also kind of the team color. I'm really stretching the boat out here, but this is kind of like a creamy color, a kind of a very, very, very pale yellow. I'm going to count it, and I know that the general rule is if you would be really annoyed that another team was stretching the prompt this far, don't do it. But I wouldn't be annoyed by this. I would say, yeah, okay, it's pale enough that it could arguably be a really, really pale yellow. It's not white. It's definitely not a white cover. So let's see how we get on with that. It's super quick. It's definitely a really quick audiobook, and I might even take that as my initial prompt and then continue with Danny as a sightseeing book. Here we are, as ever, in the bathroom, and I'm going to give you an update on how day 2 of the readathon has gone, starting with Danny Brown, which I have decided to make my sightseeing book for the New York leg, mainly because I didn't think ahead and think that when I was reading in what's technically my third language, it was just naturally going to take me a little bit longer to read it. It was naturally going to take me a little bit longer to take everything in, to process the information. Some of the words I do have to kind of translate and look up. So it's just naturally slowing me down a little bit. The reason that it's my sightseeing book is because I have got the prompt ticked off. I have arrived in New York. I read and finished within basically one day Things My Son Needs to Know About the World by Fredrik Backman. This didn't get me as many points as Danny Brown would have, admittedly. So I am a little bit disappointed that I've had to go back so far. But in the end, it ended up getting me about 450 to 500 points, which I'm pretty okay about. I'm kind of hoping that the rest of Team Yellow are going to subsequent that for me. And also, when I do eventually finish Danny Brown, which will hopefully happen tomorrow, Thursday, when I do finish Danny Brown as the sightseeing book, that will kind of bring me up to about, I think, 600 points again. I can't count the bonus for the 1.5 times pages. I can't count that bonus because I'll already be in New York, but I can count all of the other bonuses that you can put in. I can count the translated fiction. I can count a BIPOC author. I can count that it's got the colour of my team on the cover. And also I get an extra 50 quid because it's one of the host favourites. But it isn't the only book that I'm reading so far, because I am also an enjoyer of chaos. In the middle of my workday today, when I was finished with all of my Wednesday podcasts, I started First Comes Like by Alicia Rai. Now, I said at the start of the year, this was not a series I was going to go back to. I said that I wasn't going to finish out the series. I wasn't really loving the second book of it, but this one had a yellow cover. It was published by HarperCollins Audio, or Harper Audio, or however their audio production is named. It was written by an author of colour. and it was just going to be a quick, really easy read. I read on 2x speed when I'm listening to audiobooks, and I could have gotten it done in 5.5 hours if I had just been listening to that. But of course I had to like talk to colleagues and listen to some music now and then. But I'm about halfway through. So realistically, I should be able to finish it by tomorrow. And we did also get a detour today. We got our first detour that none of us were expecting. The point of the detours is that you just have these little fun activities that you need to fill out while you're either there and waiting for the next prompt, or while you're on the way to kind of spur you up a little bit. And there was 2 options that you could do here. You could do a review of the last book that you have read and you haven't reviewed it yet, or what you could also have done was look at all of the host favorites and pick out 5 of those books and make a post as to why you wanted to read them. Now, I went for the review post, but I might also do maybe something down the line of all of the host books that I actually want to read, because there were possibly more than 5 on there. But anyway, tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is Thursday. We're going to get Danny Brown finished. Come hell or high water, I am going to finish Danny Brown. I think at the moment I'm on page like 113 or something like that. And it's got 387 pages overall. So finishing it is doable. Even though it's in my 3rd language. Even though there are things like work getting in the way. I might possibly be on sprints tomorrow with Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading. I'm going to see how long my work day takes me. I'm going to see how long it takes me to get home. I don't know what time I'm going to be finished in the office tomorrow. But I'm hoping that I will have at least an hour to 2 hours where I can just switch off and pick the book up. Before we discuss anything else, yes, my hair is way too dark now. It's day 3 of the readathon. It's the end of the 3rd of August, and I haven't finished Danny Brown yet. I am now on page 206. I'm going to read a little bit more before I go to bed. It is 11:30 exactly. I'm going to stay up for a little bit longer, maybe a half hour, and see how much more I can get done. But I am a little bit worried now. I am a little bit worried that tomorrow or early Saturday we're going to get the next city. And that might mean that I'm not going to be able to count this, which I don't want happening, but I think was always a possibility. I have, however, finished another book today. I have finished First Comes Like by Alicia Rye, and unfortunately, this is a book that existed and I read it. It's not the best book that I've ever read. I think actually, for me, the entire Modern Dating series really slipped in quality when you're talking about the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd books. There were so many instances of breaths that we didn't know we were holding being let out. And by the 3rd instance of that, I just had enough. Overall, it wasn't an awful book. It wasn't something for me. And that's fine. It happens. But we got there. We got our bonus points. I think that gave me 500 extra points. Because it was a sightseeing book, so obviously I couldn't count the transportation bonus, but I did manage to get an author of colour, and I did manage to get my team's colour on the cover. I'm now also reading the audiobook of Not Ready to Adult Yet by Ian Sterling, who you might know as the narrator of Love Island. I have not watched Love Island, but I have seen Ian in a couple of other things. I've seen him on Taskmaster, the UK version of that, and I have seen him as well on a couple of panel shows that I've seen him in now and then. So I'm familiar with his work, I'm familiar with who he is, and this is genuinely so much funnier than I was expecting it to be. I know it's written by a comedian, so I was expecting there to be some level of humour into it, but this is much funnier than I thought that I would be. There's a hilarious story about a hotel mix-up in Australia. There's another pretty kind of poignant story about a mix-up with Jedward. Overall, I'm really enjoying that book. I have got about an hour and a half left on it, so I think I'm going to finish that one while I'm at work tomorrow when I'm not in meetings, but it is only going to count for about 400 points. So I do want to try and get Danny read, finished, done, so that by tomorrow I can add another maybe, I think it's 500 or 600 into the pot. So it's 387 pages. Then you add on 100 points, so we're at 487. And then I'm going to add on another 50 points. 537 points? That's not bad. Let's see where tomorrow takes us. I have a slight feeling that we're going to get something tomorrow. And I'm almost worried that it's going to happen when I'm on sprints.
I'm going to be hosting my first set of sprints tomorrow evening at 6 after work. Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading is going to join me. I was on sprints with her earlier on, and I got a good chunk of Danny Brown read while I was there. But I have just this feeling that Bree is going to let the cat out of the bag between the hours of 6 and 10 German time. And I would love that, so that I can just live react to the video, to the prompt, and get everybody's thoughts about what we should read and what we're going to read and what we don't think you should read while we're on live. Let's see if that's something that she has the balls to pull off.
I swear to God, you go to sleep for 8 hours and you fucking miss the entire show. At midnight in EST, which is 6 o'clock in the morning, my time, Bree set out the next leg, which is Mexico City, and we need to read a book with a beautiful cover. Now, for that, I am going to do Savage Her Reply by Deirdre Sullivan, and there is a reason I am doing that specific book, and that is because, unfortunately, Yellow Team did not do so hot in this round. We have got an extra challenge, which is that we need to read either an indie or a self-published book for every single book that we're going to log this time. And I'm going to play this super strategically. If we're being dealt a bad hand, we're going to bite back. And by we, I do mean me, but I hope that Yellow Team is going to get on charge with me. So, while I am listening to the audiobook of Savage Her Reply, I'm also going to physically read the Heartstopper volumes by Alice Oseman. Now, you may think this has a green cover. It isn't a translated work. It isn't by a BIPOC author. It's not going to do you a whole lot of stuff. It might down the line. Heartstopper is one of Cal's favorites. It is one of their host favorites that they put on, and it has 4 volumes out so far. Every single host favorite that you read gets you an extra 50 quid. And we have no idea how much all the transport is going to cost this time. Like, every single mode of transport this time has gone up by 50. So we have no idea how much it's going to cost somewhere down the line. A plane could end up costing thousands. But we'll have an extra 200 quid to play with if we play our cards right this time and read all 4 Heartstopper volumes in super quick succession. And I have done it before. I have been super feral about this series and read them all within the space of about 6 hours. So I know that it can be done. Also, I'd like to give a personal shout out to the country of Ireland, because while we do have Penguin, while we do have Hachette, while we do have HarperCollins, we also have a plethora, and I mean a host, of fantastic indie publishers. We have got O'Brien, who focus mainly on children's books. We've got Little Island, who focus also on children's books, but also on YA. We've got Gill, who do a whole lot of stuff. They've got cookbooks, they've got nonfiction, they have got fiction books. I have got a plethora of publishers that I can pick from. And also, there's the entire Can You catalogue. There's the entire catalogue that I picked up for Stuff Your Kindle Day. I think I can do okay with this. I might not be so hot with the bonus points, but I might get an extra 200 quid to play with. This is the only way to make myself look not completely washed out, but I have just finished hosting my first sprint for this leg of the Amazing Readathon. We're still on our way to Mexico City, but we are 34% of the way there already. I've started a book called Hannah Khan Carries On. I keep saying, like, is not obliged, which is Sophia Khan. I keep saying the wrong thing. Hannah Khan Carries On by Uzma Jalaluddin, and it is so much better than I was expecting it to be. I am having such a good time with this book. I genuinely don't think that I expected to enjoy it as much as I did. I'm going to go to bed. It is only about 10:15 here. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to lie down. I'm going to finish as much of this book as I can. And hopefully by the time I have more sprints at around this time tomorrow morning, we're a lot closer to the end than we are right now. Hopefully by the time tomorrow, I'll already be 50% in. I am adamant I'm going to finish a book today. I'm adamant that I'm going to finish Hannah Khan Carries On today. I'm on sprints right now with Becca and with Neva, and we are just after starting our first sprint. I think we're going to go until about 2 o'clock my time. In that time, I'm definitely going to finish this book, and then I might move on to Legends and Lattes. I've had this on my shelf for such a long time, and everybody that I have talked to about it says go and read it. It is a host favorite, so it is going to get me some extra money, but it's not going to get me any other bonus points. And given how last time went, I do think I need more extra bonus points. So I'm either going to do Legends and Lattes, or I'm going to pick up the first Heartstopper book that I put somewhere in my bedroom. But I'm going to get to Mexico City. The next time that you see me, I promise you, I'm going to be in Mexico City.
I did it. I did it. I said at the start of the sprint, I want to finish Hannah Khan Carries On, and I did. I finished it literally with about 2 minutes to spare. Spent the last 2 minutes just updating the graphic, updating the spreadsheet, and then we're going to move on to my first sightseeing book from Mexico City, which is Legends and Lattes. I'm probably not going to talk about it a lot here because I have got an idea of what I would like to feature this in my head, but you will see my thoughts on it very, very soon. And then when I'm finished with Legends and Lattes, you will see my thoughts on Heartstopper. Also, I'm very glad to report that there were no shenanigans during this sprint. Bree slept peacefully and comfortably the whole time. There was nothing from her, not a peep. I know that right now it's about 6 in the morning for her, so she might be starting to create some chaos, but as of now, we are free. So I'm going to sit on that couch right there that you can see with the big pile of books. Me and Legends and Lattes are going to go and have a great time, and we'll see you same time next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up on my channel every week. Now, get on out of here.